It doesn't matter if you're training professional coaches, peer-to-peer coaches, or you're just training leaders to have a coaching mindset. People don't need more coaching frameworks. What they need is to understand the skills that sit beyond or below all of those coaching frameworks. In this video, I share 3 activities that help people understand what it really means to be a great coach, regardless of the frameworks you're using. Hi, I'm Kerry Price. I'm the founder of the Facilitators Network, and I use the principles of deliberate generosity to make sure that no meeting or workshop is ever wasted. I've been facilitating for 20 odd years, and in that time I've led thousands of meetings, workshops, and community conversations. Now I help other trainers and facilitators do it well too. Great coaches have 3 things in common. First of all, they understand the principles of psychological safety, and they know that sometimes they need to scaffold and build trust before a client can really be honest with what they want to say. The second thing is they know how to craft a really good question, and they understand that one word can make all of the difference for how that question lands. And the third thing is they know how to listen really deeply so that the next best question becomes obvious. In this video, the 3 activities I share focus on each of those skills: psychological safety, asking great questions, and being able to truly listen. Activity 1. This activity is called I like. It was first introduced to me by Aidan Date, who is a team development facilitator based in Perth, Australia. And this is the idea that people go deeper and deeper as psychological safety is built. So how this works is you invite participants to jump up, stand in a circle, and round 1 is simply to invite participants to share something they like that is pretty generic. They don't have to go deep, just a topic. It might be, I like dogs, or I like Diet Coke, or I know I've said this a million times before, but I like pineapple on pizza. So not that deep, not that risky, just I like. As each person shares the thing they like, everyone else in the circle goes, yeah, like that is a great thing. Round 2, we get a little more vulnerable. Instead of just sharing a generic topic that we like, we make it a little bit more specific. And it needs to be quite different to the first thing that the person shared. So it might be something like, I like going to the beach and collecting driftwood, or I like snuggling up on the couch and reading old Victorian novels. Nothing too risky or dangerous there, but the detail makes it personal, and so therefore lifts the element of risk or the need for psychological safety just a little bit. Just like in round 1, as each person shares, the rest of the group goes, yeah, that's awesome, and really affirms the thing that they like. Round 3 takes it a little bit further. This is where you invite participants to share something that feels a bit risky, feels a little bit uncomfortable. We're not asking participants to share their deepest, darkest secrets, but something on the discomfort level around 2 or 3. Something that maybe they haven't admitted aloud in public before. For example, it might be something like, I actually like to sleep in the weekends, and sometimes I don't even get out of bed till lunchtime. Or it might be, I like peanut butter so much that I eat it straight from the jar with a spoon. Nothing terribly wrong with either of those statements, but it's a little bit more personal than I like dogs. Just like the first 2 rounds, as people share those things, the rest of the group needs to affirm it with a yes or a clap, something to encourage. Now that activity on its own, if you just did the 3 rounds, feels a bit weird. Like, what is the point of this? What makes it powerful is when you debrief. What did you notice about that activity? What surprised you about that activity? And how might that relate to the types of questions that you ask your coaching clients or your peers if you're in a peer-to-peer coaching situation? How does what you experienced here relate to what happens in the coaching room? Activity 2 is called the present. And this activity helps uncover the importance of a well-crafted question and highlights how one word can make all the difference. To kick this activity off, I let participants know that I want them to help me make some resources and that I'd love for them to just grab a post-it note and a marker pen and just draw me a present. I reassure them that it doesn't need to be gallery worthy and they don't need to overthink it. They just need to get a picture of a present on the page. I give them about 30 seconds to jot something down and then I invite everyone to hold their present up so everyone can see it. More often than not, you get a room full of presents that look something like this. A box with a ribbon. Part 2 of this activity is the introduction of a couple of new words. So instead of just asking people to draw a present, I now invite them to draw the perfect present. When this happens, you end up with 20 pictures that are all really different. Someone will draw a bottle of wine, someone draws movie tickets, someone draws flowers, travel, you name it. We then get to reflect on how one word can completely change the meaning of the question and how important it is as a coach to make sure you're asking the right question in the right way, and one word can make all the difference. Activity 3 is all about encouraging your coaches or your learners to really practice active listening and not just having a set of questions that they follow through in order, but rather learning to listen to what's being said and asking the next best question. Now, how this activity works is I invite people to get into groups of 4 or 5, and one person volunteers to be the coachee. They bring a challenge or a situation to the table, and the rest of the people are acting as the coaches so that they can practice just being totally present and listening to what the coachee is saying. I have a whole bunch of different coaching questions written on cards. They're not specific to any particular situation, just more general questions that are useful in a coaching situation. What options might you have? What would a successful outcome look like for you? What else might be true in this situation? If you're already involved in coaching training, you'll have a bunch of questions that you suggest people use in a coaching environment. So just grab some index cards and write your own set of coaching questions. Pop those coaching questions out on the table, face up so everyone can see them, and then let the activity begin. What happens is the coachee shares their challenge, everyone focuses on just listening, and then they're given time to scan the questions on the table and decide what might be the next best question. What this does is allow separation between the listening and the thinking of what comes next. Over time, you can start to take the questions away and people can try and do it without the prompts of the cards. Of course, running these different activities is one thing, but you actually need to give people time to review, recap, and reflect on the learning that's happened. And particularly at the end of the day when they've had so much going on and it can all be jumbled up all at once. In my next video, how to recap a training session, I share with you 3 activities that help people reflect and review so that the learning that's happened in the activities really sticks. You'll find the link in the description below. Go check it out.